In today's exciting news, we once again dive into the world of the Miami Grand Prix, where a Verstappen error in qualifying saw pole sitter Perez given a chance to claim a victory that would have given him the World Championship lead. Unfortunately, the Dutchman produced a dazzling drive to win by 5 seconds and extend his advantage to 14 points. Up until the very end, the two drivers engaged in a fierce battle. Verstappen came into the Miami Grand Prix with a great determination to win after his heartbreaking defeat at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And he did it. As a matter of fact, Verstappen outperformed Sergio Perez in a dominant display, demonstrating beyond a shadow of a question who was the better driver. Verstappen was in a world of his own from the minute the lights went out, expertly traversing the difficult Miami street circuit and leaving his rivals in his wake. Verstappen demonstrated why he's regarded as one of the world's most gifted drivers with his distinctively reckless driving style and persistent focus. This victory by Verstappen will undoubtedly go down in history for lovers of exhilarating racing and thrilling action. Verstappen is obviously not backing down from his efforts as the title race between him and other competitors ramps up. At this moment, feel free to take a seat and join us as we bring you the most recent news and analysis from the world of F1 racing. Stay tuned so you won't miss out. In 2023, the Miami Grand Prix turned out to be a declaration race for Max Verstappen of Red Bull, who came to the tournament motivated to avenge his loss in Azerbaijan the week before. Verstappen let Sergio Perez know before they left Florida that he was superior to him. The Mexican was confident going into the weekend that he could continue his surprising title pursuit against Verstappen over the entire season. However, he was humiliated and eventually left the race. Given that Verstappen qualified for the Miami Grand Prix in 9th place on the grid, his triumph was very spectacular. Verstappen moved into 2nd place after just 14 circuits thanks to Perez's inability to maintain his early advantage. Verstappen overtook Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin, alerting Perez to the difficulty of the race. Even though Perez's tires were 20 laps fresher after his pit stop, he was unable to close the distance to Verstappen. By the time Perez pitted with 12 circuits remaining, Verstappen was widening his lead over him. His offset tires were also very essential to his triumph. He pitted 25 circuits to Perez after racing a long first stint on heavy tires. He was able to restart the race barely a second behind Perez as a result, and a lap later he overtook Perez for the lead. The triumph dealt a setback to Perez's hopes of challenging Verstappen for the championship this year. Verstappen earned a 3-2 victory over Perez this year and now leads the championship by 14 points. His victory in this race was by far his most incredible of the year, and Perez was pretty upset about it. Verstappen started 9th after making a mistake in qualifying, and the Dutchman lost another chance when Leclerc crashed, so the victory appeared to be in the Mexican's hands. While the top 7 drivers took the first stint on mediums, he started on hard tires for Red Bull, and this turned out to be a successful tactic. The secret to his triumph was his ability to battle through the pack as Perez battled with the medium tires. Moving on, there were some post-race comments. Max Verstappen was questioned about his opinions on the race after winning the Miami GP in 2023. He claimed he had a successful race and avoided danger in the early going. Verstappen responded that winning a race from P9 is usually very enjoyable when asked if it feels extra special to come from so far back and defeat his teammate at the finish line. However, Verstappen was finally asked who thought it was a good idea to start on the hard tire and use a different strategy. Well, we started talking about it yesterday. We didn't know what the weather would do, but we were quite confident that this would pay off, and luckily it did today. Max added that his general pace and careful tire maintenance, both of which were difficult with a one-stop strategy, were the keys to his success. Once he was in clean air, the focus shifted to completing the desired amount of laps, which was a little hazy in the midst of the stint. When he approached the number, he was able to push, widening the margin. Verstappen also engaged in a competitive duel with Sergio Perez, who was rumored to be a race-free teammate. In order to keep the race clean, he emphasized how important it was for participants to avoid touching one another. Verstappen seemed to be happy with his overall performance and the team's approach, and he expressed optimism that they will keep winning in the next races. Now, regarding fans' favorite for the race, Sergio Perez, he was questioned about the race after placing 2nd in the Miami Grand Prix. He gave it his all and did his best, despite the disappointment of losing. He admitted that the opening stint was subpar, with graining on the starting speed endangering the competition. Perez mentioned that the medium initially was worse than anticipated and hindered their pace when asked where he thought he lost the race. Additionally, he noted that Max was moving really quickly on the hard tire, allowing Perez to speculate as to what went wrong. Despite this, the audience cheered him on and he was polite in loss, thanking everyone for their tremendous support. Notwithstanding the conflict on the track, Perez said that Max deserved to win because his car was the more powerful. Additionally, Perez mentioned that Max was unquestionably the faster car on the road and that he was unable to properly maintain his tires. When also asked if he talked about opening the race on the hard tire, Perez responded that he had not. None of them anticipated the medium tire to be as fragile as it was, so starting on the hard tire would have been a gamble. Last but not least, Perez said that compared to the previous year, the race was far less physically demanding. He thought it was much simpler overall. So, after Red Bull easily won the F1 Miami Grand Prix, Christian Horner expressed his joy and respect for both Red Bull drivers. After pitting for medium tires and moving up to 8th place, Max Verstappen outran teammate and pole sitter Sergio Perez to win the race. After being asked by the team, both drivers raced each other fairly, and Horner was happy to see them both contending at the peak of their games. He praised Red Bull's performance and outcome and said that they are wondering where the other teams are because this is the first time they've had such a strong start. Verstappen's decision to start on the hard tire was praised by Horner, who added that his pace on the worn tire between laps 20 and 42 was essential to matching and beating Perez's pace. According to Horner, Perez may have selected that course in retrospect, but all the evidence showed that medium to hard was the wiser and safer option. In his post-race analysis, Horner suggested that Perez may have regretted not putting more effort into his first stint to get away from Verstappen. He did, however, add that it's simple to look back and criticize things with 20/20 hindsight. But do you think Red Bull will compete against a strong field in forthcoming races? There are rumors that the Red Bull team may be beginning to sense pressure from its rivals. Team principal Christian Horner stated in a recent interview that Red Bull is aware of the impending enhancements from its competitors and that the team is working hard to stay ahead of the curve. While Horner is more worried about Red Bull's performance than other teams' prospective improvements, Mercedes has been loud about their Imola upgrade package. He did, however, imply that he anticipates the rivalry to heat up as the season goes on. The key question is whether Red Bull has to be concerned about advancements made by its competitors. Do you think Mercedes and Ferrari's upgrades will cause Red Bull to lose their lead on the track? Or will they make things more competitive? In the long run, the victory in Miami by Max Verstappen was a remarkable demonstration of his prowess as a driver and his ability to overcome obstacles. Perez put up a decent fight, but in the end, he was unable to match Verstappen's speed and his calculated decision to start on the hard tire. Verstappen performed worthy of a championship and appears to be at the top of his game right now. Both drivers accepted their losses with grace and acknowledged their teammates' contributions during the press conference and post-race interviews. Furthermore, Red Bull had finished first or second in 4 of the first 5 races, making them appear unbeatable. However, Horner made mention of planned changes that could strengthen the vehicle even further. It will be interesting to watch how Verstappen and Perez continue to compete against one another and the rest of the field as the F1 season goes on. Above all, Verstappen can currently enjoy his arduous triumph in Miami and the fact that he has regained the upper hand. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons. More importantly, don't forget to click the bell icons to be notified when a new video is uploaded. Also, feel free to leave a remark if you have any recommendations for videos. Thanks once again, and we'll see you in the next video.